The energy that goes through fields like this end up being figure eights. And I only know that because that's first what happened to me as I started to move without moving anything. I noticed figure eights and I had to research how come that's happening. And you can see on the other clips more detail, and also on the blog at Energy's Way, where I share a whole lot of these images. You can see them in more detail. But the crucial part seems also to be not only the pattern, but the pacing. And the pacing is not just a matter of, well, go slow. It is true you'll end up slowing down to learn anything. But to have a soul gesture happen is not just a matter of speed or the lack of it. It's how carefully you think into each moment, feel into each moment, respond into each moment, so that you go from doing something like pointing, shoving, pushing, punching, to opening enough to allow. You know, you go from this to a little of this. But to go most fully, where you are providing the finishing touch, giving up all effort, blessing, making holy, that's this. You're not doing it at all. You're recognizing that the ultimate action, which is the ultimate power of the universe, completely effortless grace, will take care of it all. Not just as a matter of faith, but because you experience in yourself the unfolding of your own nature, that welcoming how we're welcome is so refined, feels so good, and then this becomes a pulsing tingling that is the gasm of all gasms. Doesn't have to be genital to be so deliciously ecstatic. You experience Mama Cosmos spilling over herself moment to moment and into and through us. So what's that look like? Well, I'm going to do it three ways. First, I'm going to notice. You maybe got to know me enough now that I can do this to you. I'm in your face a little. You notice I'm looking? You can tell I'm looking. I'm doing something, right? Now watch this. You can do the same, and you have done many times, where you've gone from looking to allowing some seeing. You soften. Your eyes soften. You may even experience going to the back of your eyes rather than the front of your eyes. That your face widens, maybe it shrinks, who knows what, but you allow. And when you see, I'm no longer just looking at you, notice, I'm seeing that even though I know nothing about you and there's no visual here other than the camera and the lens, I can tell you as someone are more likely than not seeing than I'm seeing you, at least in some sense. The way writers of anything get hints of, and certainly the authors of ancient spiritual texts knew, we're not bounded in space and time, not just because the ultimate spiritual reality is beyond, 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 but also because the energetic presence of life is so full. This itself is not bounded. We connect, even if I will never see you again or have anything to do with you. This is already a real meeting. Not the kind that would be as vivid if we actually spoke, but it's also real in its own sense. I'm seeing in such a way that you can see that I see. And for you to see that I see, you have to be letting in some amount of self-seeing that is the light of it all. Mama Cosmos' soul is light as well as love and power. Ultimately, light is self-illumining knowing of no bounds. And such seeing comes into us as we welcome, being welcomed into it. You can experiment when you do this with the now current sort of eye-staring process where people fall in love if they do it for a whole 4 minutes or something like that. So that's in the looking to see and then welcome the self-seeing. that connects fully. You can see it with action. You point, you do, you allow, and now welcoming action takes a little further refinement. And it's not just I'm making my hand wave. I'm allowing and then welcoming. Notice the waving starts here and here and comes up, so that I don't know what I'm doing. I am not planning this. Dance, whatever. Usually dance is more vigorous than them. It's rare as an energy healer to find someone who dances so vigorously who's free of all tension. There are cases. It takes exquisite amount of skill for people to get there, and usually only see that at like Shaolin masters or masters, the highest masters of Tai Chi. Most of the teachers on YouTube I see teaching Qigong saying, they're forced. They're not doing this. So, how else can you do this? You must have seen this exercise. You look in the mirror and you go, oh my God, he's got bags and gray hair, and look, it's all, I gotta look at this guy, right? But you can tell I've done this a couple of times, right? More than a couple. Then you can see you look in such a way that you can see and see the scene coming out. And you may even be able to begin to hear. Yeah, it takes some slowing up, doesn't it? And letting you in. And I don't always, but more and more. I know what you're doing here. Thanks for letting me do this live. Dear love. Now, that exercise is taught many places. What's usually left out is, not always, you may have to get to a point where there, with yourself, acknowledge things like, which I've done a fair amount, I haven't always looked this way, and I haven't always stopped to let your looking, your seeing come through, and read your looking and seeing, so I get that you too have been abused. And you like to come off like you're a rough, tough Vietnam vet and all the rest and everything else. You've had the shit kicked out of you, and you've hurt, and you've made like you haven't. You've come off preening and swagger laden and all the rest of it, and I've gone along with that charade. And not just said, yes, painful, hurts. And then take it into the healing that I'll show you is possible to do. They're far more powerfully than any of the standard methods when you do it like this.